Welcome to the 12th Report with me, Blessings Mosugu, and these are the headlines. Are the rains getting worse? Well, 198 areas now on flood watch from Lagos to the FCT. Nearly 200 local councils face looming flood threats. The warning, brace now or pay later. Then we take a look at the big shake-up in correctional service, where the federal government has sacked 15 officers, demotes 59 others in major disciplinary crackdown. Why? We'll find out. And then an update to the Ghana chopper tragedy. President Mahama launches urgent probe as 8, including 2 ministers, die in chopper tragedy, a devastating time for Ghana. Subsequently, we have our correspondent stationed across board around the nation who will be giving us more updates on these stories. We'll bring the details in a moment. And now to the stories. Remember how we reported the mass failure recorded from the just concluded WASSC examinations? Now, outrage is growing after WAEC temporarily shut down its online results portal for the 2025 WASSC due to technical faults. The council says internal reviews exposed glitches in its back-end system, especially in maths, English, biology, and economics, linked to a new serialization method meant to combat malpractice. Now, in a statement, WAEC admitted the errors and urged candidates to recheck their results starting on Friday, promising a full fix within 24 hours. The shutdown follows backlash over poor performance statistics, with only 38.32% of nearly 2 million candidates securing credits in 5 key subjects, including English and maths, the lowest in a decade. Parents, teachers, and students' unions are calling for accountability and a review of WAEC's digital readiness. Moving away from that now, the Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency is sounding the alarm over potential flooding in 198 local government areas across 30 states and the Federal Capital Territory. The warning covers a 15-day period from August 7 to August 21. The agency categorized the expected flood levels as very high, high, and moderate based on rainfall projections and the topography of each area. A total of 832 communities have been identified as being at risk of various degrees of flooding. The states facing the very highest flood risk include Adamawa, Bauchi, Bayelsa, Benue, Borno, Delta, Gombe, Kebbi, Kogi, Lagos, Niger, Ogun, Rivers, Yobe, and Zamfara. Other states like Anambra, Akwa Ibom, Cross River, FCT, Ebonyi, and Jigawa are also listed under high to moderate flood risk. The agency has warned that more than 100 major transportation routes across the country could be disrupted due to rising water levels, particularly in low-lying and coastal regions. Now, the residents of Magodo Phase 2 in Lagos are raising the alarm over what they describe as unauthorized and dangerous construction activities in the estate's southeast zone. They have issued a Save Our Soul appeal to the Lagos state government, urging swift intervention to prevent what they believe could be a looming disaster. Led by Chairman Dotun Ifebogun, the estate's executive committee says a developer allegedly backed by the Ministry of Physical Planning is erecting structures that pose a serious threat to lives and to property. Right now, News Central's Victor Mbadike joins us live to give us the update with the latest development in Magodo. Victor, I'm just going to go straight and ask, what exactly are the residents alleging? They're saying that a builder or a constructor is erecting an unauthorized building. How can we verify the veracity of that claim? All right, Victor, I'm so sorry I would have to interrupt you there. We haven't been able to establish audio connections with you, but we'll definitely circle back to get the updates. Victor, can you confirm that you can hear me? All right, we'll get back to Victor on the residents raising alarm in Magodo. But in the meantime, The standoff between civil society groups and the Nigeria police is showing no signs of easing. Today, protesters once again gathered at the force headquarters in Abuja, demanding the immediate and unconditional release of activist Omoyele Sowore. Now, the demonstration follows growing public outrage over results or reports of Sowore's secret transfer and alleged physical assault while in detention. Commissioner of Police Ibrahim, who now leads the newly formed Special Intervention Squad, met with the demonstrators and offered to take a few of their representatives to the facility where Sowore is reportedly being held. Right now, News Central's Ibrahim is live at the force headquarters with more on today's protest. Ibrahim, thank you for joining us. What is the update there in Abuja with the protesters asking for immediate release of Omoyele Sowore?
So the update right now was Ibrahim just beckoned on us to follow him, so he takes us to the location where he is. So bear with me, I'll be leading you through these developments live. At the moment, journalists and company of policemen and other activists who are here as well are following the police to the location, hopefully to confirm what the state of being is. Before that, Amnesty International had initially mentioned that Sowore's arm was broken after he was forcefully taken to an undisclosed location. Well, today, the demonstration took quite a different turn because indeed the police had shown some form of transparency, we call it that, willing to show the demonstrators the state of Sowore's condition, and also to quell all speculations regarding the state of his being. So right now we're going to that location to confirm what the situation is regarding Sowore and the state of being. As you can see, it's raining, and these protesters have actually defied the rain to ensure that the Revolution Now leader, is indeed in good condition and he has not been unhurt.
All right, Ibrahim, thank you for that. I mean, we were able to understand that you are currently on your way alongside the other protesters who have defied the rain to come out to ask for the immediate release of Omoyele Sowore. You're going to confirm the location of his detention. We'll definitely circle back to understand that as well. Let's go back now to Victor Mbadike, who's currently in Magodo, where the residents are complaining about the illegal structure that is being erected. Victor, thank you for joining us once again. What is the update in Magodo currently?
So we decided to choose these locations deliberately to show you the implication of that decision by the developer to build up or put up structures in a water-locked area. I mean, a location where should not even be considered in the first place. We'll probably like to show you pictures much later, but take a look at behind me. You realize that the retainer fence had fallen off, impacting on this vehicle you can see just right behind me, and some of that structures just right behind. So this is an example of some of the outcry of the exco's of this particular Magodo to say that we do not want any developer whatsoever to build on a particular gorge in our estate, the southeast zone to be precise. There are about 21 zones in the estate basically, but the affected estate right now we're talking about is the southeast zone. And now there's a gorge where, it's a deep still, a waterlogged area, a landlocked area. You do not expect any developer to have any building or any structure on that place. Otherwise, when the rains begin to fall, it's going to impact heavily in that place and affect buildings like these that are just directly behind it, and that's one of the challenge. Just like I said earlier, look at the impact of these. Although we did wish that we could speak to some of the victims right here, but because they're still traumatized, they would not want to talk to us. But they did speak to us behind the scenes to tell us of how much impact that had on them while they were sleeping. The rains that fell from Sunday into Monday morning was what affected this particular building. I do have a lawyer and resident, of course, Mr. Adebisi Shogun. Could you please come forward? He will be bringing up to speed on some of the things that they demand from government. He will tell us much more better some of the impact and implications of that structure that is being put up by a developer who they say perhaps have backing from the Ministry of Physical Planning. Mr. Shogule, let's start with you basically. What are the more implications of this attitude or recalcitrant attitude by the developer to put up a structure just right over there?
Well, you can see for yourself,
Please,
there are certain things they call in law res ipsa locator. This case speaks for you to see clearly. And why is it very clear? At the back is a no construction zone. Somebody somewhere in government gave approval for the land to be given the CFO, gave approval for it to be built, gave approval for them to build to the cliff. And definitely, since they are building to the cliff, disaster will happen. So this entire stretch, if your camera can pan it very well, you can see that it's on a cliff. The master, this estate is a beautiful estate crafted by Lagos State government. And the master plan of this estate has places that are not supposed to be developed. They have places that are supposed to be green area. I've been in this estate for over 12 years. But we've noticed that gradually there is what we call a bastardization of the master plan. Some people will just come up, whether they are politically connected or not, and they will get approval to build in a place that is not supposed to be a built-up place. That is the challenge, and it is a challenge of our society where there is no respect for laid down rules. Everybody can just, once you have the right person you can influence in government, you just peddle your influence, and the things that are supposed to be not to be done will be done. So how do you compensate the psychology of this place coming down? In fact, if the Lagos State government, because I know that if the person who owns all these lines of building is not connected to Lagos, they will have shut all this building down.
So, Mr. Shogule, let me put this directly to you. Are you in any way laying an indictment on the Ministry of Physical Plan? Otherwise, have there been any formal complaints to the ministry or to the government over this matter?
You don't need to lay indictment on anybody. If in an estate, this is an estate, you can see that there is no way this place goes like this. Are you hearing me? It's a construction zone. It's a no-built zone. So there's no need to indict anybody. If a no-built zone, they approve a CFO to be issued on it, or they allotted the land, because that's where the problem starts from. They allotted the land, they allowed the person to build, then they also allowed the person to build in such a way to impact other buildings that are sitting. Then there is no need to indict anybody. The process is self-indicting. Okay, look at that gorge. How can you go and build inside a gorge? Were you not there? Okay, where is the drainage inside the gorge? So somebody now decided that a gorge that should be a buffer zone for an entire area should be built up, so that one day when rain falls and there is no place for water to escape, they will now say this estate flooded.
All right, thank you. All right, so thank you so much, Mr. Shogule, for your time.
No. When they said yes, estate for the now.
In simple terms, I know we have to go. In simple terms, you do not have any right to build in a garage. I mean, it's a no. It's a place where construction should never even take place in the first place. When the rains come or any form of disaster comes, that building comes down. Not just affecting the immediate building that collapses, but surrounding buildings like this one. And that is what they are saying, that the government should help to put a stop actually to these projects by the developer. Otherwise, more lives and property could be lost.
Thank you for bringing us the update on the Magodo development crisis, and definitely we'll see how that turns out. Thank you once again. It's still the 12 reports. We're going to a short break now, and when we come back, influx of beggars threatens the peace, urban order in Maiduguri. You want to stick around for that story? Stay with us. Still the 12 reports now to socio-economic issues. The streets of Maiduguri, the Borno state capital, are witnessing a sweep in the number of street beggars. A growing concern for residents worried about public safety, traffic disruptions, and the welfare of those forced to beg. Among them are children, the elderly, and people living with disabilities, many of whom now line major roads seeking help to survive. Right now, News Central's Umaru Kirawa has been tracking these growing social issues and now joins me to discuss this and give us more insight. Kirawa, I'm very curious as to whether or not beyond the street begging, there are other economic and social issues that might have pushed people to the streets that much that people are now clamoring for them to be taking off the streets.
It's a common knowledge that Borno State and, of course, the Northeast Nigeria has went through a very difficult time of insurgency, and there have been issues of displacement, there have been issues of family missing, and like the ICRC recently released a report that 24,000 families have been missing in the Northeast since the inception of the crisis in the Northeast. This is to tell you the magnitude of the crisis and, of course, the situation on ground. This has really pushed many families to be on the street, resorting to begging on the street. But be that as it may, the street begging issue seems to be a national issue that the government really needs to prioritize addressing, even in Lagos, even in states like Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, and so on, including Kano. There are you see series of persons, even persons with disabilities, and even able persons. In Lagos, they call them corporate beggars, begging on the street, seeking for support from well-meaning individuals and people, and they are causing serious problems, including traffic congestion, and sometimes it leads to accidents. And you can see here, you see some children here, you see them with their bowels moving around. They have no any other option but to beg. And this is a very serious issue of concern that really needs to be addressed.
All right, thank you, Umaru Kirawa, for the updates on that, and we'll see what the government does to that regard. Now let's go back to buildings, but this time more of demolitions as opposed to constructions. Residents of Ajeromi Felodun local government area of Lagos claim that their homes have been demolished without warning. Now, according to the affected residents, over 100 houses have either been completely leveled or had their roofs removed, leaving families stranded and uncertain about their future. Now, the alleged demolitions were ordered by the Oba of Ojora and carried out with the support of personnel from the Ajeromi police station and a military unit from Mesa, reportedly from the Signal Barracks in Alaba. News Central's Omolola Olade has been following this development, and she joins us now. Omolola, what exactly could have triggered these demolitions, and was there any previous warnings before the demolitions were done?
Hello, blessings. We're presently at, we're presently on Arimo Street here at Ifelodun Ajeromi, local government area of Lagos State, where residents have complained bitterly about the recent demolition of their houses. While some houses were, completely demolished, other roofs were completely removed, and have, continued to cry out to government. On getting here, we did speak to some residents as to what exactly happened, and they said yesterday, the demolition, the Oba of Ijora actually, called the Oba of Ijora actually brought some OP Mesa, men from the security guard and OP Mesa to come here to destroy some houses. And then, we did speak to some of the people affected, and they said that this is not the first time it's happening, that, about 3 years ago, they did get something like this, a notice from the Oba of Ijora that their houses will be demolished or completely sold off. And, some of them were asked to pay, as high as 8 million naira. And then I spoke to one person. She said she wasn't able to get 8 million naira, but she was actually able to pay a sum of 2 million naira to be able to avert this occurrence. She thought that, it was over, but not until yesterday when they saw these people, came over to their house to completely, remove the roof of the house.
That is a devastating situation for the residents. We'll still find out what the agencies involved have to say about whether or not they were given prior warning. Thank you for that. Now, in Rivers State, the south of Nigeria, screening of candidates ahead of the local government elections is scheduled to begin today and will run through Saturday. This comes amid growing public outcry and the calls for the exercise to be suspended, with critics citing legal and procedural concerns. But the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission, RISIC, says it is forging ahead with preparations for the polls, insisting that all is set. Right now, News Central's Biola Festus joins us live from the RISIC headquarters in Port Harcourt to give us updates. Biola Festus, what is the update like? What's the atmosphere gearing up to the elections?
Excellent blessing. We are at the RISIC headquarters in Port Harcourt. We had to come to this small corner because it's been a raining day in Port Harcourt. The whole RISIC headquarters flooding in for their support for their screening ahead of the LDA elections. So this has been a beehive of activity since the morning hours. So I can confirm to you that from what we have seen on the ground, intending candidates are here, and some of them have been screened. Others are waiting to be screened, that begs your pardon. So this screening will determine whether or not they are going to be the final flag bearer for their parties. But for those who may not go through in this screening, they have to be substituted by another candidate that their party may so will.
Appreciate the update. Biola Festus there giving us an update on the Rivers local government elections. Now, the federal government has dismissed 15 personnel of the Nigerian Correctional Service and demoted 59 others following disciplinary action by the Civic Defense, Correctional, Fire and Immigration Services Board. Now, according to a statement from the Correctional Service spokesperson, Umar Abubakar, the sanctions came after the board reviewed 231 disciplinary cases presented by its Disciplinary and General Purpose Committee. In addition to the dismissals and demotions, 42 officials received warning letters, 8 were compulsorily retired, and 1 officer was ordered to refund salaries after a rank reversal. 16 others were cleared of all allegations. The board also revealed that 7 officers remain suspended, with 1 facing likely prosecution by the EFCC over serious misconduct. It's still the 12 report. We're going on another short break now, and when we come back, we have more after the details when we return. Stay with us. Hey, thanks for staying with us. It's still the 12 report. And so far, we have talked about the fail rate of the WASSC exams and, of course, the agency attesting to the fact that there was actually a technical glitch. We've also looked at the protesters who are clamoring for the immediate release of Omoyele Sowore. And we've also talked about the demolitions in the Ajay Romi area, where our correspondent Omolola is currently standing by to give us more updates. Omolola Olalade, I mean, we couldn't take the whole of the update earlier, but what is the update that you have for us regarding the demolitions? And I was particular about whether or not they were informed, the residents were informed before these demolitions started.
Yes, Blessing. Since yesterday, some of the houses, like I mentioned, the roofs have been completely removed, forcing residents to, move out of their houses unannounced. And now we have, I have one of the persons affected. She's, of course, one of the landladies, one of their daughters. She will become, please come forward. She's Mrs. Ido, who should be giving us like an exact picture of what happened yesterday. Can you tell us what happened yesterday?
Yesterday, we are out home when somebody called me that they are removing the roof. After we come out, we meet a lot of, after we came out, we meet a lot of people with cutlass, different of things in their hand that we should move out of the house, that they want to move the. We asked them what happened. They said from KBAC, Ojora, KBAC, that we should move out from the house, that they have sold the house without permission and without notice. So that is what we see yesterday.
But what's the first time this is going to happen? Like, give us a background picture of what happened earlier before, because I did speak to you, Mama earlier, and she said that about 3 years ago she paid some amount of money just to avoid this occurrence. So what happened afterwards?
Of course, we paid them. They asked us to pay. They find us that we are owing tax money, and they find us to pay 2 million. We paid the 2 million. After they paid 2 million, we pay 500,000 naira to settle some guidance on that is there. So we paid the 2 million, 2.5. We paid 2.5 to Ojora. So after paying that money, we went for receipts. We asked for receipt. They said the receipt is not yet. After 2 weeks, they called us again. We went back to the place. We went back to collect the receipt. They said the receipt is not yet done. We went back. Like 3 days after, they now called us that somebody wants to see us at the palace. We went today. When we went there, I just asked, who is those people? They said, that is the people that bought this house. I said, which house? Said our house. I said, our house. Who said the house? Where did you get the receipt from? Our manager said, okay, we should go. They will get back to us later. So we now went to the cabinet. This thing that you are saying, we didn't understand what you are saying about this. Said later he will get back to us in 2 weeks. We should call him. We went back. We didn't see him. They didn't allow us to see KBC.
Okay, so beyond all of this, did the KBC promise to resettle you? Even if this house is sold, to resettle you somewhere, or just give you some compensation?
No, we don't sell the house. So how come we are going to collect money from him? We didn't negotiate the house, and we didn't tell him that we want to sell. She fined us to pay money we are owing him tax. He asked us to pay 2 million. We paid the 2 million. So how come we sell the house without notice?
So okay, you have something to say?
Yeah. So after then, he came. We went to there after that 2 weeks. After that 2 weeks, we asked him about the receipts. So we should call him 2 days later. After that day, we called him. He didn't pick our call. So then,
that was what happened until yesterday?
Yes. That is. After then, this is what we see.
Thank you very much, ma'am. So I think she's been able to explain what exactly happened. And besides this, particular building, there are other houses that, we were able to ascertain that the Oba of, allegedly, the Oba of Ijora has, demolished some of those houses, and some others, their roofs are completely ruined. They said it has been a pattern for over, 3-5 years now.
All right, Omola, thank you so much for the update. Omola Olade there with the update on the Lagos Ijora axis demolition. Now, the National Economic Summit Group has held the Lagos leg of its National Dialogue Series, an event inspired by Professor Osita Ogbu's seminal book, Development as Attitude. The dialogue forms part of the Nigeria Hamilton Project, a national initiative aimed at rethinking development by focusing on leadership values, citizenship participation, and shared responsibility. News Central's Igbalani Omoni has the details.
It was a gathering of minds in Lagos as stakeholders from government, academia and the private sector came together to push the boundaries of what development truly means in the Nigerian context.
We are dealing with record multidimensional poverty, record scale inequality, and a youth bulge, which means that if we don't put more people to work, the future could be more painful than the present. And so I think the purpose of these dialogues is to catalyze that type of deep reflection.
Guided by the ideas in Professor Osita Ogbu's book, Development as Attitude, the series challenges conventional notions, suggesting that real progress is not just about economic policy or foreign aid, but about the collective mindset of leaders and citizens.
The crisis of our development is that states are not centers of innovation. They are not centers of prosperity. A state government doesn't care about the poverty index in their state, and is not held responsible for moving that poverty index in the positive direction. So there is the absence of accountability, meaning it doesn't really matter what you do and how you perform. In fact, we have become a nation that promotes people who are not supposed to promote and honor people who are not supposed to honor.
So we have an ideological base for moving forward. One, no one left behind. Two, education is critical to progress. Invest enough in education and healthcare, bearing in mind that nobody should be left behind, who will compete and will be one of the great places to live on the planet.
This state of begging must stop. This state of thinking that anything outside ourselves is the best must stop. You are the solution. We can do it. We have the capacity, we have the knowledge, we have the experience. We're the most beautiful people on earth. Let's do it.
Participants criticized the tendency to equate resource wealth with national progress, instead calling for deeper investment in people, institutions, and long-term strategy.
You can't take away the criticality of leadership in whether we make progress or not. And central to the idea of leadership, it's not just the knowledge, it's not just the intellectual capacity, but it's the attitude that leaders take to their office. And if we have the right leaders in positions of authority who are making the right decisions, the progress that we will make will be profound.
The compelling call to development and being attitudinal about it, being intentional about it instead of being accidental is something very, very compelling and necessary, if you like, for anybody who is holding public office or who aspires to hold public office.
Once these dialogues are over, we are converting all these dialogues into white papers, policy proposals, agenda items that we now will force national leaders to debate about, to reach some decisions, so that it goes back into political and policy agendas.
The Lagos dialogue carries forward key conversations such as leadership values, governance ethics, public accountability, and a civic role, with the hope of shaping inclusive development in Nigeria. In Lagos, for News Central, Igbelani Omoni.
So let's talk business now. The issue of wage disparity isn't a discussion that just started today. It has long been a pressing issue for both employers and employees alike, made even more glaring by a combination of structural, financial, and economic challenges. These disparities not only foster workplace inequality, but also get in the way of business development and national economic progress. Well, business correspondent Chamun Debeng is out in the streets of Lagos asking Nigerians what they really think is an appropriate monthly salary to enable them get by comfortably. Chamun Debeng, it's no surprise that, we've had that disparity between the social media calls it Lapo and Nepo babies. My first question will definitely be, what is it that, makes people... Chamun Debeng, can you hear me? All right, I don't think we can establish audio connections with her just yet. So we'll come back to her very shortly. Now, Zimbabwe and the UK are rekindling diplomatic ties after almost 3 decades of tension, driven by a global surge in demand for critical minerals that led the former colonial power to pursue $1 billion in deals with the resource-rich nation. In June, the UK dispatched Minister of Africa Lord Ray Collins of Highbury to meet Zimbabwean President Emmerson Mnangagwa and other senior leaders. The trip marked a rare encounter between the two nations' officials after years of deteriorating relations, especially under former President Robert Mugabe, a vocal critique of Britain's 90-year colonial rule of a southern African nation. Collins described his visit as a mission for economic growth that would lead to a win-win situation for both countries. Now, U.S. President Donald Trump signed an executive order tightening federal grant approvals, requiring political appointees to evaluate and approve all grant awards. The order mandates that discretionary funding must align with the president's policy priorities and prohibits grants supporting initiatives deemed to compromise public safety or promote anti-American values, targeting programs on diversity, equity, inclusion, immigration, and transgender issues. The administration argues that move combats wasteful spending and ideological bias, while critics warn it threatens free speech and academic freedom by politicizing federal funding decisions. This marks a significant shift in federal grant oversight and allocation. Let's go back to the topic of wage disparity. And like I said on social media, it's a battle between the Nepo and the Lapo babies. Chairman Debeng, if you can hear me, first off, what is the mood of people like in terms of the disparity between salaries?
So far, but let me just preface it by saying that Intel Point's recent report on the Nigerian financial services market actually says that only 2.4% of Nigeria's population is earning around 200,000 or above 200,000. And what this basically means is that only about 1.1 million Nigerians are earning around that figure, and that's out of 230 million people in the country. So the responses that we've been getting is, it's a show of disappointment, it's a show of outrage, as well as resentment towards the federal government, as well as the 1% that control the majority of the country's wealth.
But very sad statistics. Thank you so much, Chairman Debeng, for the update on that. At least now we know what the people on the street are saying about the disparity in salaries. Coming up on the news, South Africa court rule on Zambia ex-President Lungu's final resting place. And you want to wonder, can the dead just rest? We have the details after the break. It's still the 12 report. Very quickly, we have Sagir Ibrahim, who is on standby to give us more updates on the protest against the illegal detention of Omoyele Sowore. Sagir, what is the update that you have for us at this moment? All right, Sagir Ibrahim is still setting up to give us updates. I'm sure that when he's ready, we can circle back to him. But in this next story, one is tempted to ask, can the dead just rest? A South African court is expected to rule on Friday, which is today, in a dispute over the final resting place of former president of Zambia, Edgar Lungu. The matter is before the Gauteng High Court in Pretoria, following a legal tussle between the Zambian government and Lungu's family. And while the family insists he should be buried in South Africa, where he passed away in June, the Zambian government maintains that his remains should be repatriated and laid to rest at Embassy Park in Lusaka, the designated burial ground for former heads of state. Quite a drama. Well, News Central's Bongani Ziziba has been following this story closely, and she joins us now for the latest development. Bongani, if you can hear me.
Afternoon to you, Blessings, and also our viewers at home. Indeed, we are waiting for that significant judgment from the Pretoria. The legal battle is unfolding that could determine the final resting place of the former Zambian president, Edgar Lungu. The Gauteng High Court is set to deliver that judgment later today. The dispute between Zambian government and the Lungu's family. As you might know, Blessings, over the past months, the Lungu's family has been residing here in South Africa, and their presence they also acquired property, but their presence has not been without controversy. You may recall that earlier the incident at Waterkloof Air Base, where us, the media, the South African official government, with guard of honor, waited for hours for the body and for the repatriation of the Lungu's body, and the family, they did not turn up. That was a dignified preparation sent off by the South African government scheduled there, but questions were raised, tensions, that why did they not come. But we also covered a memorial service that was meant for burial later, that was halted by the Zambian government when they filed that interdict that brought us today, while we wait for that judgment whether the body will be repatriated back to Zambia for burial, or will the family have it to bury him here in South Africa. Blessings.
All right, thank you for the update, Bongani Siziba. Now back to Abuja, where Sagir Ibrahim is on standby to give us the update on the Omoyele Sowore issue. Sagir, what's the update you have for us?
Thank you so much. Let me behind me, of course, this is the point team headquarters here in Abuja. This is the location where the Omoyele Sowore is being held at the moment. A few moments ago, we were given an opportunity to interact with him, and we confirmed that, of course, he is okay. However, we noticed a bandaged right arm. Yes, I repeat, Omoyele Sowore has a bandaged right arm at the moment. We tried to converse with him to know exactly what the situation was. From the location, he was initially to this point location. Unfortunately, the police did not let us the opportunity to get a response from him at the moment. But what I can...
All right, apologies for that, but definitely we'll circle back to see what the update is regarding the protest for the release of Omoyele Sowore. A tragic incident occurred in Ghana on the 6th of August 2025. This has shattered the nation's spirit and has left Ghanaians in deep mourning. You have probably been seeing the story across all social media platforms. That morning, a Ghana Air Force harboring Z-9EH helicopter departed from Accra around 9:12 a.m. GMT, bound for Obuasi to attend a public event on combating illegal mining. Tragically, it crashed into a forested mountainside near Adansi in the Ashanti region, and this killed all 8 people on board. Among them were Defense Minister Edward Omane Boamah, Environment, Science and Technology Minister Ibrahim Muhammed, Acting Deputy National Security Coordinator Limuna Mohammed Muniru, the NDC Vice Chair Samuel Sarpong, former parliamentary candidate Samuel Abuagie, and 3 Ghana Air Force crew members. The helicopter's wreckage was located in the forest, and while the cause of the crash remains unknown, the Ghana Armed Forces immediately launched a full-scale investigation, and this was supported by the security agencies and with the recovery of the flight recorder. In response to this tragedy, President John Mahama declared a 3-day national mourning, suspended all official engagements, lowered the flags half-mast, and expressed profound condolences through his Chief of Staff, Julius Debra. Now, President Mahama was originally scheduled to actually be on that flight. He was slated to attend the event as a special guest, but instead delegated the trip to Ministers Boamah and Muhammed. Who would have thought that such a tragic event would occur? In this dark hour, we sympathize with the whole of Ghana, the grieving families, the loyal colleagues, and the nation at large, as well as with the President Mahama himself. Well, that said, Victoria Mboko made history at the WTA Canadian Open in Montreal, becoming the second youngest woman to defeat 4 Grand Slam champions in a single event, claiming her maiden WTA title. And this is a very exciting one. So we'll quickly hear from Onyechi Obaru, who is on standby to give us more updates. Onyechi, are you ready to give us the updates?
Yes, I am. And she did this, having to beat 4 former champions down to the final. First title for Victoria. Great one for her, but you should get more on In the Game.
Well, do stay tuned for In the Game for more on this, and do well to follow us across all social media platforms. We are at News Central TV, and you can watch us live on DSTV channel 422, Avo TV, Star Times 274, on Gold TV channel 23, and of course live on DSTV. Many thanks for watching. I'm Blessings Musugu.